Star Wars Outlaws, for me anyway, has been one of the most anticipated games in 2024, boasting an ambitious open world experience that's set between The Empire Strikes Back and The Return of the Jedi. Developed by Massive Entertainment and published by Ubisoft, the game promised the player a chance to live out the fantasy of being an outlaw in the Star Wars universe, complete with dogfights, heists, and a sprawling narrative. But does this game live up to the hype? Does this live up to the other Star Wars games, such as the Jedi games that are created and produced by EA and Respawn? Well, in this video we're going to give a pretty detailed overview of what this game's like, from the open world, the story, the characters, and other things along those lines, and ultimately if you should go ahead and buy this game. Again, a big thank you to Ubisoft for providing me with this game, early access to this game, for me to play through, do a review on it, and also do a story explained on it, which I'll leave in the description down below if you guys want to go and check that out for yourselves. But without further ado everyone, let's dive straight into this Star Wars Outlaws review, and let's see what it's all about. Star Wars Outlaws offers players the freedom to explore a variety of planets, each with their own distinct environments, cultures, and secrets. From the bustling streets of Tatooine to the dangerous jungles of Akiva, the game's open world is vast and visually stunning at times. The scale is very impressive as well, and it should be for a game of this generation, with each location feeling expansive and filled with opportunities for exploration and adventure. However, this open world experience isn't without its issues, and this is the main part of this game. Despite the size and variety of environments, the game struggles with repetitive content. Side quests, while numerous, often boil down to the same type of missions of fetch quests, bounty hunting, or simple combat scenarios. Most of them even to upgrade your blaster or your vehicles that you can use throughout the game, not really providing much towards the story narrative, and mostly more of content filler just to prolong the gameplay. After a while, the novelty of exploring new planets wears off entirely, as the activities you engage in start to feel formulaic. Moreover, the open world is plagued by issues technically as well. These performance issues can detract from the overall immersive experience as well, especially in cutscenes. Additionally, the game suffers from long loading times when travelling between planets as well, unless you have a very powerful system that you're playing it on, or in some cases are on a console using an SSD. If you have this game installed on a traditional hard drive, you will be waiting upwards of 5 minutes to load into the game itself, which is why you need to purchase an SSD to play it on there. In terms of open world, the final verdict for this, I would say that the open world for me was probably around a 7 out of 10. It was slightly above average in terms of what you could do, exploration, the different things you could find around the map as well, the side quests and the opportunity to do them. I just feel like that it was just not it. But what games like God of War do with their free roam in terms of their map compared to what the likes of Star Wars Outlaws have done, it's night and day different in terms of storytelling and additionally adding to the story. In God of War you can do side missions, you can do different things to add to the lore of different characters, to the backstory of why characters have done different things in different parts of their lives and how they've changed up until this point, adding to the overall story and making you like them more. Within Star Wars Outlaws you don't really get that. You do a couple of fetch quests here and there, and mostly it's only to increase reputation on your own back. There's nothing there that's going to make you like characters more and try to persuade characters to join you on your heists. There's nothing like that. The protagonist, Kay Vess, is a likeable enough character. Not incredible, but enough likeable. A rogue with a heart, reminiscent of that of the likes of Han Solo from the actual movies, but with her own distinct personality. Kay's dialogue is witty, and she has a charming dynamic with her companion Nyx, a small, loyal alien creature who assisted her throughout the game. Their interactions provided some of the game's most endearing moments, adding a layer of warmth to what is an otherwise gritty setting. However, their supporting cast doesn't fare as well. While there are a few memorable and likeable characters such as Bram and ND5, which are my two personal favourites, there aren't really any others that I can say really compelled me to like them or went out of their way to make me like them. I just didn't really care. The like of Ankh, Gadeek, the ones that we're meant to be doing this incredible mission with. I had no reason to like them in this game, and that's the one thing in a game that involves a story like this and that you need to nail. And with it being a Star Wars game, you'd think that half the work is already done for you in terms of actually giving you the resources to make the characters likable, make their backstory interesting, involve them into something cool. But no, there was none of that. This game is nothing like the Respawn version of Star Wars with Cal Kestis or Seer or any one of those sorts, but the story was just not very good, and I feel like they kind of went for a similar vibe. Jalen was the brother of Slero, the main antagonist in this story, and the whole heist of trying to set K-Vess free and allow her to have this freedom and the money to do what she wants to was all for a revenge story on one brother to another. It just wasn't the same because I didn't like Jalen. I didn't feel that way about him like I did with Bode, where it surprised me in a way. I just don't think the story was written very well in this game. I just feel like they could have done much more with K-Vess, made her much more of a likable character, one that resonates a lot more with that of the backstory of like someone like Han Solo and the way that he came around. And my biggest gripe with this story, was that the lack of depth in character development made the story feel hollow at times, as the stakes just don't feel as high when you're not as fully invested in the people that are involved in that story with you. And that's the biggest problem for me. Not to mention the facts that the mission changed last minute. Fair enough, they always do. The mission changed, they were all in this for money, and they all just accepted they weren't getting anything out of it. I understand that they can now sort of bribe their way through. They have loads of information they can use now against the Imperials, against other big syndicate organizations and whatnot, and that Vale will go ahead and create her own organization or syndicate, and there may be a second game in this. But there was 157 million credits in that box that was said to be there, that was going to be split between 4 or 5 different people. Like, they had plans. There's no way they're this calm about not having that. You know what I mean? And the fact that everything's just like that, the fact there was a boss fight at the end for Jalen, ND5 just shot him like that, and there was no fight against him, Kay couldn't battle against him, we couldn't play as ND5 and try to kill him, there was nothing like that. And for me, that was the worst part about this game, and one of the big problems with video games in modern day, is it takes away the power for you to have your boss fights, to fight against the people which were fighting against you in the background. Jalen only wanted this because he wanted to get back at his brother. After that, he didn't care what happened to anyone. So we didn't get the opportunity to kill him. It was all in a cutscene. It was done by a robot, essentially. And then everyone was just happy with doing nothing at the end. So, look, I don't know. This story could have been completely preventable, because this is exactly the same position as Kay was in before the game took place compared to after, when the game had finished. Before the game took place, Kay was, yes, in this place doing little runs here and there to get credits, but when she stole the ship, she was out of there. She could have just not done any of that, escaped on the ship, and still been in the same situation than she was before. So anyway, that's my idea on the story. I think that it could have been improved. I wasn't a huge fan of it. It was very, very shallow to me, but I've said, let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. The narrative of Star Wars Outlaws is where the game both shines and stumbles. On the one hand, it delivers a classic Star Wars tale of rebellion, betrayal, and the grey morality of the criminal underworld. K-Vess is thrust into a high-stakes plot involving smuggling, double-crossing, and a race against time to pull off the ultimate heist. The story is engaging at times, with plenty of twists and turns to keep players invested in Kay's journey. However, the pacing of the story can be quite uneven. The main quests are packed with thrilling moments in terms of going through Imperial bases, trying not to be caught and setting the alarms off, and splicing through doors as quickly as you can, trying to not get caught. But that's often interrupted by the aforementioned repetitive side quests that can dilute the urgency of the narrative. There are also moments where the story feels like it's treading familiar ground, borrowing heavily from Star Wars past films and games without introducing enough fresh ideas to stand out on its own. Another issue is that the dialogue system is just really, really poor, and it offers players choices that supposedly affect the outcome of the story, but unfortunately these choices often feel superficial, with many of them leading to the same or very similar outcomes, reducing the impact of player agency in the narrative. The reputation system, for the most part, works okay, but you go through the majority of the story just playing through the campaign itself, not really noticing it as much as what you probably should. I mean, if you go through these cities and do side quests for these different side characters, you're probably going to unlock more features for the Crimson Dawn or the Pikes or different things like that. But if you're like me and just play through the main quest and do the odd side mission here and there, you're not really going to notice it as much, which is a bit of a shame. Not to mention the game is also riddled with bugs at launch, which, look, for a game that's first come out and a game that's this big, it is expected for some titles, but these are just generic Ubisoft bugs. I'll be completely honest. We've got character pop-ins, we've got clipping issues in and out of the map, especially on those older PCs, and even if you're using a hard drive on a PC, you're going to encounter so many more issues than what you would if you're using an SSD. And also issues with AI talking, and the mouth movements aren't fantastic in terms of syncing what they're saying to what it looks like they're actually saying and speaking. Look, again, these are technical issues that make Star Wars Outlaws feel unpolished at times and rushed, especially to other AAA titles like the Respawn Star Wars games or other games that are meant to be in this category of game. But again, let me know what you think about this down below. There have been some funny clips that have been released for Star Wars Outlaws, but with a couple of patches down the line, I'm sure this game will turn out looking great. Star Wars Outlaws is a game with a lot of heart and ambition, offering a sprawling open world filled with the kind of adventures that Star Wars fans crave from an open world game. Kayvess is a strong protagonist in the sense that she is willing, she is independent, she wants freedom, and she doesn't want to be bothered or chased anymore. And that's what she gets towards the end of the story. Unfortunately, the story of her doing that just was not strong enough in my opinion, and it left a lot to be desired when it came to finishing that story. At the game's core, the narrative is fairly engaging, and it's enough to keep the players hooked for a short period of time. However, the experience is marred by repetitive gameplay, underdeveloped characters, and a host of technical issues that hold it back from greatness. For die-hard Star Wars fans, Star Wars Outlaws is still worth playing and experiencing in terms of the story and the gameplay, especially if you're looking to lose yourself in the universe's rich lore and atmosphere. But for those expecting a polished, bug-free experience with deep character development and innovative gameplay, it might be worth waiting for a few patches or a sale before diving into this one. The final verdict for Star Wars Outlaws for me is a 7 out of 10. I thought this was slightly above average in terms of gameplay and what you can do in the game. And not to mention, you could probably stick easy 35 hours into this game and probably not be done with all of the side quests and different ranking and the reputation system and the crafting and different things like that. I thought Star Wars Outlaws was an enjoyable game at times. It is imperfect, but the journey through the Star Wars universe I thought was fun, and it was a nice adaptation to something slightly different. While it doesn't quite reach the heights that it aims for, it offers enough thrills and nostalgia to make it a worthy addition to the franchise, and I do think it holds its own place. But will it be a game remembered for the rest of eternity? Will it be a game highly regarded as Jedi Survivor or the Jedi Fallen Order? Well, probably not. But it's a game worth picking up for those that want another Star Wars experience. But guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions down below on this review. What do you think of my thoughts and opinions? What do you think of my final verdict? Leave your comments down below. But ultimately, go pick it up if it's on sale. I wouldn't go out and rush to buy it, to be honest. I probably wouldn't have pre-ordered it either. Again, thank you to Ubisoft for sending me a copy of this game. And even though this is basically a sponsored video by Ubisoft, I am going to be completely honest with you guys as to what I think about these games, because it's only fair to do that. Thank you though guys, I really appreciate it. Leave a like if you did enjoy the video, subscribe down below for more content like this, and we'll see you guys in the next one.